me say something that may shock you. It may even alarm you. If you're a wildlife photographer in the United States, there is a very real chance that you've broken laws that could easily lead you to fines and even imprisonment. Not because you're reckless, not because you're unethical, but because most photographers have never actually read the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. And this law covers most of the birds you photograph.
But you're stronger than you know. You'll never be alone when everything feels dark.
Hey, I'm Jeff, and I'm a wildlife photographer living in Charleston, South Carolina. On this channel, we discuss topics pertaining to wildlife photography, photo editing, and we talk about ways to think differently as photographers, ways that really no one else talks about. And really, it's designed to reach our full potential as photographers. If this sounds like something that you might like, well, thanks for stopping by and joining us. Today, I want to talk about some of the most common bird species protected under these laws and the actions that photographers often take that cross the legal lines and what can result in fines or even jail time. Now, this isn't a fear-based video. It's about being informed because as wildlife photographers, protecting wildlife is one of our main reasons, one of our main priorities, and protecting wildlife starts with understanding the law. The treaty was passed in 1918, and it makes it illegal to take, kill, capture, possess, sell, transport, or attempt to take any protected migratory bird or their parts. And here's the part that most people don't understand. The word take does not just mean killing. It includes disturbing, harassing, causing nest abandonment, collecting feathers, possessing eggs or nests. This law protects over 1,000 species in the United States, including birds such as the American robin, the northern cardinal, the blue jay, the eastern bluebird, the Carolina wren, the red-winged blackbird. Yes, even that robin in your backyard. You cannot remove an active nest. You cannot keep feathers or collect eggs or intentionally disturb nesting behaviors. It also protects raptors, such as red-tailed hawks, Cooper's hawks, ospreys, great horned owls, barred owls, and eagles. And let's not forget that both the bald eagle and the golden eagle are also protected, not only the Migratory Bird Treaty, but also under the Bald Eagle and the Gold Eagle Protection Act, which carries even stricter penalties. Waterfowl and shorebirds are protected too. We're talking about mallards and wood ducks, the Canada goose, killdeer, sanderling, and many shorebirds nest directly on open beaches, making them extremely vulnerable to disturbance from photographers. Now let's talk about the behaviors that can cross the line. Number one, approaching too closely during nesting season if your presence causes the following things: a bird to flush repeatedly, nest abandonment, disruption of feeding their young. These can all qualify as an unlawful take. This is especially serious when we're dealing with raptors, owls, eagles, or ground nesting shorebirds. Under federal law, fines can reach up to $15,000 per violation, and in more severe cases, criminal charges are possible, including imprisonment. Number two, drone use near protected birds. Now, you might think there's no harm in using a drone to capture some of that really unique and beautiful footage for yourself, maybe even a personal project. But what happens if you're flying a drone near nesting ospreys or a great blue heron, or maybe even some bald eagles? If a bird flushes because of your drone, that may qualify as a disturbance. Even if the FAA says that you're allowed to fly in that particular area, wildlife laws still apply. Number 3, using playback excessively. If a photographer uses recorded calls to lure birds closer and it results in territorial stress, interferes with breeding, disrupts feeding cycles, then it crosses ethical and even potentially legal boundaries, especially during the breeding seasons. Number 4, collecting feathers. This shocks a lot of people, but you cannot legally keep feathers from hawks, owls, songbirds, and ducks, even if you found them naturally molted. Possession alone can be a violation. Number 5, baiting raptors and placing food to attract red-tailed hawks, great horned owls. This can be illegal in certain contexts and on federal lands. It can also fall under harassment or unlawful take if it alerts natural behavior significantly. Some species are not protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty because they are non-native, such as the European starling, the house sparrow, and rock pigeon. But most native birds in North America are protected. If it's native, it's best practice to just assume it's covered. Again, I want to stress, this isn't about fear, it's about knowledge and responsibility. As wildlife photographers, we have a responsibility to wildlife, and we often advocate for conservation. We often teach others about nature, and we share images that inspire appreciation. But our credibility goes out the window if our practices aren't ethical and we don't align with the laws. The reality is this: the vast majority of violations happen because of ignorance, not intent. But ignorance isn't an excuse, and it doesn't prevent penalties. More importantly, it doesn't protect the bird. The goal isn't to avoid fines. It's not to avoid jail time. It's to protect nesting, successful breeding, stress levels, long-term population health, because at the end of the day, no photograph is worth harming the subject. And when we put wildlife first and support nesting, breeding, and long-term population health, aren't we really creating an environment that's going to provide us with even more photographic opportunities? If you found this information shocking, interesting, or just plain helpful, let me know in the comments below. I know I found a lot of it shocking. And be sure to check out the Migratory Bird Treaty Act to learn a whole lot more about the bird species covered by this treaty and the things that you can do to support the mission of the treaty. If you're looking for a new photo editor, then I would urge you to go check out my favorite software, DxO Photolab 9. Photolab is the editing software that I trust for all of my editing needs, with its industry-leading noise reduction. And with the release of Photolab 9, its new AI masking tools will help to streamline your editing workflow to make you more efficient, consistent, and give you those professional-looking images. Use the link in the show notes below to head on over and check it out for yourself. If you decide that you want to purchase it, just be sure to use my discount code, you know that thing, at the time of checkout. That code is Magnolia, and it will save you 15% off on your purchase. If you're not quite ready to make a purchase, download their risk-free 30-day free trial, where you can try out the software with absolutely zero restrictions. If you're worried about learning Photolab 9, then you need to check out my DxO Photolab 9 Masterclass over at my store. That is magnoliaphotographysc.com/store. In this course, we cover everything from file management to AI masking tools and everything in between. I even show you my exact step-by-step editing process, which is going to give you the perfect jumping off point for creating your very own signature editing process. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to spend it with me. But before you go, you might want to think about checking out this next video right here.